What's going on, guys? Sam here, and today we come to you with a new show. It is This Week in Wrestling, and I am joined by one half of the Unboxing Bros, Mike. How you going, buddy?
It's doing good, boss. How are you, man?
Yeah, good, man. Good. This Week in Wrestling has been pretty funny, I should say. We've got a few things that we need to talk about and a few things that we need to go through. Raw, SmackDown, NXT, TNA, and all the behind stories we're going to be talking about today. How's your week been, man?
Man, as you can tell, today is the only day this week that I haven't had a box to unbox.
Oh, wow. Crazy. That's crazy, man. So what was the last box you unboxed?
The Ravening. Last night I unboxed the Ravening. Steve unboxed three pops, his comic book haul, and I unboxed the Ravening comics from Boundless Comics, number 1 and number 2.
Oh, yeah. Awesome, man. So this week in WWE and in TNA has been quite big, quite substantial. As some of us wrestling fanatics may know, WWE has been looking at buying TNA's wrestling library to then put onto the WWE network. And a lot of aspects have been pointing to WWE already purchasing it on the sites at the moment. But hopefully later down the track we will know for sure exactly what's going on. But let's get into WWE Raw. And Raw opened up with Roman Reigns, Vince McMahon's love child, as I call him. Vince McMahon loves this kid. Roman Reigns is out in the ring with his United States Championship, and basically the segment ends with a big brawl between him and Rusev. Now, how do you think this feud is going so far? Do you think it's going to be substantial enough to actually elevate the United States Championship?
Nope. I think they should leave alone Rusev and left it alone and put Roman Reigns down mid-card status and I can give him a title run. I say that is because Roman Reigns has burned too many water. He's burned too many bridges so far to me. He isn't what he claims to be. He is not the athlete. He is not the guy. He is below the guy. He isn't even called the man. He ain't even better than the dude. He is just what he is, Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
So is just terrible, man. His in-ring promos are garbage. I mean, I'm telling you, he needs a microphone in his ear to tell him what to say. I think it would be better.
Yeah.
His in-ring needs work as well.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, I don't know. He's just become really sour. He had a good stint at the end of last year. Then when Royal Rumble came, it was just booze again. They need to literally turn him heel or leave him be. I think he would do so much better as a heel instead of being a face. Heel, you don't need to have the mic. You can just use your power to go up against everybody. You know. I really don't think he needs to be a face. A face at this time. I think he needs to be a heel. It needs to turn. And I don't know if they'll ever do that either.
It wouldn't help his character.
You don't agree with me?
No, I can't. And the reason I can't agree with it is he just came off a heel run maybe less than a year ago. I mean, he's not Randy Orton. He can't flip flop like Randy Orton. He doesn't.
Yeah, but he was great as a heel, man. And then all of a sudden they flipped him as a face, and he's just blown out. So they either need to turn him back and keep him as a heel, or do something totally different and not let him be a face without the mic. But that can never happen because his promos are crap. Honestly, I agree with you. His promos are crap. His in-ring ability is good. It's not the best. It's good. But his promos are crap. What was that?
He's not main event quality.
Yeah. Hey, not at the moment. Yeah. I don't believe that. But Vince McMahon loves the bloke, wants him as a main event player, and whatever Vince McMahon says goes. You know what I mean? So, if they really want to get the viewership that they are expecting with him, then they better turn him heel. You know. Anyway. We go into the first match of the night, and it was Perkins versus Kendrick. Now, we were told a week before that this was for the title. Then we find out on the match that it wasn't for the title. What do you think about WWE bringing the cruiserweights back into Raw? And what sort of aspect do you see the cruiserweights taking in like the WWE pay-per-views and especially the Raw pay-per-views? Perkins and Kendrick, this match wasn't the best, I didn't think. I thought it wasn't that good. Kendrick won with the Captain Hook, but there was a lot of botches in it. And I really didn't like the way it ended. In a way, I would have liked to have seen Perkins go over, but hey, that's what you get when WWE is trying to do a storyline. It was just very, very slow and very, very messy. And to open up, to come off like a opening of Rusev and Roman Reigns, and then to come into a fight like that, there was no point in it. You know what I mean? What were your thoughts on that fight?
The point is on that fight, and I'm not a big Brian Kendrick fan. I'm more of a Paul London fan. And I'll be honest on that, 100%. I think Paul London held that team together with him and Kendrick. I think that Paul London is a better athlete than Brian Kendrick. I think Brian Kendrick is past his prime. Yeah, he deserves his last stint in the WWE. But he doesn't deserve the championship run, and he doesn't deserve what he's been doing so far. He's mid-card in the cruiserweight division is at best, because you have Tony Nese in there that is amazing. You have Cedric Alexander, who is phenomenal. You have Dan Mafta, who is a beast. And there's all these other guys that are way better than Kendrick. I mean, hell, if you want to take into consideration, you got Johnny Gargano, and that dude right there is a monster by himself. I mean, and Brian Kendrick is 36 years old. He's my age. Yeah, I give him credit where credit is due. The man's still athletic. He can still go, but he's stiff. He's very flimsy in the ring. He doesn't work solid. Like you said, there was a bunch of botches, and most of them were on him because Perkins was trying to call the match on the fly because Kendrick was all over the place.
Yeah, I've got to go into the comments here. Kelly Weir is putting in their hashtag "Give Swan a Chance," and I seriously believe that Rick Swan needs to grab that title belt. He is phenomenal, man. Like, I was just watching NXT, and he just like blew my mind. He's just the funniest bloke as well. And I really would love to see him take the gold. He's just a phenomenal. Like you said, you've got Cedric Alexander, you've got Swan. The Cruiserweight Classic was fantastic, man. The only reason Brian Kendrick is getting pushed, and I believe, is because of Daniel Bryan, and because Vince McMahon has said that, look, Daniel Bryan's close to us, so we'll give you another push. I think this will be his final push. I think he'll hold the title, but he won't hold it for long. I don't know if it's the best idea to put the title on Brian Kendrick, but at the same time, actually it's not a good idea to put Brian Kendrick as champion at all. But I would like to see Rick Swan grab that title and really elevate it to the next part, to the next level, you know.
And
Then we had
Rich Swann,
what was that?
I was like, speaking of Rich Swann, I watched some of his earlier stuff in Combat Zone Wrestling, CZW. The man came out with leprechaun trunks, eating a bucket of Kentucky Fried Chicken, dancing to the song all night long. And I'm going to tell you, that was the most entertaining 10-minute match that I've ever watched in my life. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go look it up on YouTube. I'm pretty sure it's out there. Rich Swann eats a bucket of chicken and beats the crap out of two guys. And then he gives them the drumstick of death, which is like like the crossface chicken wing with a drumstick in the dude's mouth. It was the greatest thing.
Yeah. And then we have, I don't know why they did this, but there was a sit-down interview between Rollins and Michael Cole, because I don't really care too much about him. Seth Rollins and Michael Cole about this feud between him and Kevin Owens. Now, this freaking face turn of Rollins has been done so wrong. Should have happened when he returned. It's all of a sudden happened, and now he's saying, Kevin Owens got handed the title, rada. He's under Triple H's thumb. He's getting all this help, rada. But then at the same time, Seth Rollins had the same a lot of help. He had the same thing happen to him, and it's just a contradictory act. I watch a lot of No DQ and A, and they were saying it the best. They said that he needed to become heel when he first returned, you know, and to be honest, all he did on Monday Night Raw was do an interview, and then in the middle of Jericho Owens versus Sheamus and Cesaro. Oh no, Jericho and Owens versus the New Day. He walked out onto the stage and just stood and stared at Owens. You know, so I don't know. I don't think he's going to be. I think Rollins can be a great babyface. He's really over with the crowd. But he needs to become himself and stop reading all the scripts and stuff. He needs to start doing his own stuff instead of following Vince McMahon's little puppet show, you know?
I agree.
And then we had Braun Strowman versus another jobber. And, man, this guy has got so much potential, but they are just feeding him to the dogs. I just don't understand it. Like, why can't Big Show or Kane or someone big that's going to give him a bit of a run come out and beat him or something? You know, give him a good fight. We want to see his potential. You know what I mean?
Well, the thing is about Braun Strowman, we did see his potential when he was part of the Blind. The bad thing about Braun Strowman, he is going to be the next Khali. He can move a little bit faster than Khali can. The bad thing about Braun Strowman, and everybody sees it, is his stamina. It's his weak point. That's why I'm giving these little quick matches there and there to get people pumped up for him. And then they're going to give him like this big 15, 20-minute match, and the man's going to die halfway through it. And there's going to be a lot of rest holds. It's going to be over the top finish, and it's not even going to be worth your time to watch it.
Yeah.
And they're putting him on 4 or 5 minute matches tops right now. They're trying to get him back in the ring shape. He doesn't think he has any problems. He's like, I want better, or blah blah blah. And even these jobbers is because that's all he can handle. If he handled the likes of, let's say Cesaro, for example, his argument, he'd be his lunch.
Yeah.
And Shane his lunch. I mean, nothing against Braun Strowman. I mean, I'm a fan of the guy. I think his look is amazing. I think his personality is great. I think his in-ring work ethic is good. He just needs better stamina.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, he's got so much potential there to be such a great wrestler, but I think it's also to do with the whole writing of his character. His character needs to be written in a better way, you know. But now after the match, he comes out and he goes, "I want an actual challenger next week. Give me a challenger next week, or hell's gonna break loose." And this is just, oh my goodness. On to the next one. Anyway, we then have an in-ring segment with Chris Jericho and Eric Rowan. Now, I've got to say, my goodness, Chris Jericho, round of applause, sir. You are phenomenal. He,
One of the best wrestlers of all time.
dude, he blew the house down with his promo. Like, Roman Reigns needs to get alongside this guy. Because, dude, his whole list of Jericho thing, this whole list of Jericho that you just plucked out of the air has just been phenomenal, man. Like, they started this whole thing where they were talking about the title, and Jericho came up with this great idea of going for the tag team titles, and then Owens was like, "Oh, I don't want to go for the tag team titles. I'm the Universal Champion." And then Chris Jericho goes, "Oh, well, maybe we can fight for your title then." And the look on Kevin Owens' face when that was said blew my mind. And it's sort of showing now that there's going to be a breakup soon. I think it will be after they have a fight. I think there'll be a fight at Hell in a Cell for the tag team titles between them and New Day, and then there will be a breakup, and it will be Chris Jericho versus Kevin Owens for the title at Survivor Series. And it will probably be a triple threat match between him, Kevin Owens, and Seth Rollins for the title.
And you're getting one part in that too, though. I think it could be a fatal four-way because they're talking about bringing Sami Zayn in that main event picture eventually as well.
I think that would be a bad idea for now. I think Sami Zayn should get an Intercontinental title run, and leave it at that for now. Huh? Oh, no, US title run, sorry. US title run. I think he should get a US title run because, like, I don't know if that will be, like, the best thing putting him in the main event picture just yet. I think WrestleMania maybe, but just yet, I don't think it's time yet. But hey, anything can happen with WWE, especially if Mr. Vince McMahon has anything to say about it. Talking about Zayn, we had Zayn versus Titus O'Neil in his new. Like, what are they doing with Titus O'Neil at the moment? Like, like the first page of my Raw has just been complaints about WWE writings, man. The whole thing is just complaints. Like, what the flip? I just don't understand it. Give me your insights on it. I'm not going to say a thing because I'll probably swear.
I'm probably going to swear too because Titus O'Neil, he make her to wear it. Come on, man. You're garbage. The only reason you even have a shot on TV right now, the only reason you have a shot on TV right now is WWE feels sorry for your scum.
Yeah.
Let me calm down a minute. Titus O'Neil, in my opinion, he's overhyped. He's overreached his potential. He will never amount to anything. He'll never hold a title in WWE.
Yeah.
He will be just Butch Reed was in WWE. He is a good big man. He can do certain things, but after that, he's done. Send him packing. Let him go to TNA. Let him go to Ring of Honor. See where he can become bigger and better somewhere else. Like whenever Butch Reed left WWE, he became tag team champions with Ron Simmons and Doom over in WCW.
Yeah.
Phenomenal athlete. And then after they broke up, he didn't do nothing.
Yeah, that's it. It was very disappointing, if I do say so myself, because like, they just haven't really used him to the potential that they could use him at. You know what I mean? And it's quite sad. What was that?
Talent. He could be a great enhancement talent. That's what he should be good at.
Yeah.
He should be the next Brooklyn Brawler.
Yeah. That's it. It's the way WWE is going at the moment. I'm not happy about it. Especially Raw. SmackDown though. SmackDown is fantastic, and we'll get to that a little bit later in the show. But yeah, Raw. It's just not the best, and I'm not really happy with it, to be honest. And then we get a match between... Now, this... You thought the first half of Raw was bad, and then you get into the second half of Raw, and it gets even worse. You have a team that has just been fighting for the WWE Tag Team Championships. All of a sudden, you get Gallows and Anderson versus Golden Truth. What... Like, what is WWE thinking at the moment? Like, this, I know this is all entertainment, and it's gonna be funny here, because, like, I'll get some comments here, but I am so freaking frustrated on how WWE is handling the club right now. Come on, they were so fantastic in NJWP, and then all of a sudden, it's just, oh my goodness, man. What are your thoughts on Gallows and Anderson? They are fantastic wrestlers, but what is WWE doing?
Okay. Well, you got to think, New Japan is a whole different wrestling style than WWE. WWE wrestles this soft-core, non-hard-hitting mishmash.
Yeah.
And then you have, in New Japan, they hit you. They hit you hard. They hit you quick. They hit you a lot.
Yeah.
And because it's what they call strong style. That's where Nakamura came from. That's where Ibushi came from. That's where a lot of people that are good wrestlers in America go and get trained.
Yeah.
Now, with that being said, Anderson and Gallows were part of a club, the Bullet Club. The only reason they were part of that Bullet Club was to broaden the foreigners' stance over in Japan. Because you had Jarrett, you had Styles, you had Omega, you had the Young Bucks, you had, I mean, phenomenal athletes just blew up. Now, I mean, and during that time of the Bullet Club, you had Gallows and Anderson holding the NJPW championships for over almost a whole year, and they only dropped them one whenever they came to America, so they could wrestle in Ring of Honor a couple of times, and then they went back. Then they went back to New Japan, regained the titles, and then they left after the biggest pay-per-view in NJPW history and came to America to wrestle for WWE again. Carl Anderson's, I think Gallows' third stint. And that's not taking nothing away from them as being great athletes. They're having to mesh different styles together now. And they're not doing it like AJ Styles is so phenomenal. He can go and wrestle anywhere in the world and be good. And
that's
Gallows
it.
and Anderson have to have they should have went to NXT, unfortunately. I hate to say that. They should have went to NXT to learn to reprogram themselves into the way of the American wrestling. But they'll get there. They'll get it.
Yeah. I totally agree with you, man. Like, because Gallows, he's been in WWE as Fetus. He also, or Festus. He was also in TNA as Doc Gallows, and then he went to NJPW as the same character, and now he's come over to WWE as the same character, but he has been dulled down so much, you know, and it's quite disappointing. They got the win on Raw, but will it? I think they have been, especially with their feud with New Day. I don't know what WWE was thinking in not giving them the titles, and to have all these, like, not giving them titles there, that's fine, but then having Gallows and Anderson come out as these doctors, like these segments, it wasn't like using their potential to the best of their ability, you know what I mean? And that was the sad thing about it. Anyway, we then have an in-ring segment with Enzo and Cass and 3 breast cancer survivors. Now, one thing that is good about WWE is that they do a lot of charity work, and they do a lot of things where they help out a lot of people. Like, you've got Connor's Cure, and then you've got the breast cancer awareness as well. They handed titles to these 3 survivors. Not the best work from Cass and Enzo. They had a bit of problems unveiling the titles that they were giving to the ladies. So that was sort of like a bit upsetting. And by this time, I was getting really bored because WWE had already gone over like 2 hours, and they were only like halfway through. So I was sort of like, all right, where's the excitement coming from this one?
Well, the thing is, I think in that point right there, Boz, in my opinion, that was trying to show a brief point of not their character per se, but as them. And
Yeah.
I got that 100%. And yeah, and you could tell Enzo was a little choked up when he was trying to unveil those belts, man. And it did take him a little bit of time because he was shaking a little. You could tell. And all joking aside, even though it took a little bit longer for that segment to do, in my opinion, I thought it showed their humanity aspect to them as well, not just the performance. And that's not given. And I'm not a big Enzo and Cass fan, as anybody can tell you. But whenever they did that, I was like, wow, they're decent human beings. Props to them guys.
Oh yeah, I thought that too. But like, I love the Enzo and Cass as well. Yeah, they are fantastic performers, and I really want to see them get those belts. You know.
Oh,
We then have. What was that?
Yeah, they'll get them eventually.
Yeah. And then we get Jericho and Kevin Owens versus the New Day. And the match was okay. We then had Seth Rollins walk out onto the ring, or onto the stage, and New Day beat Jericho and Kevin Owens, I'm pretty sure. Or was it the other way around? I don't know. I didn't really pay attention to that match that much. We then had a match between Kutcher and Danny Matheson against Tony Nese and Rick Swann. Now, Mike, oh man, Swanee is just awesome. I just absolutely love that guy. His wrestling ability is fantastic, and he really did a great match there. It was a good match between the 4 of them. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. What were your thoughts on that match?
Rick Swann held that. Him and Tony Nese worked well together. If WWE was to bring in a cruiserweight tag team division or a tag team title, them 2 guys are there by far leaps and bounds ever more than anybody else on that roster.
Yeah.
Not taking away anything from Ciampa and Gargano, but they do not have the gel like they do.
Yeah.
And they know each inside and out. They worked in Ring of Honor. They worked in CZW. They worked in PWG. They worked in WXW. Hell, they even worked in several promotions down there where you're at, mate. And that says a lot about these guys. These guys work hard for what they are. And most people discredit their ability to do what they do night in and night out. And Rich Swann tells you, every time he gets in the ring, that's his last match. And he's phenomenal athlete. Phenomenal.
Oh,
Nice
he's
guy.
fantastic, man.
And he's quick.
Fantastic.
The man is quick.
Oh,
He's like
dude, he's like a friggin' Speedy Gonzalez, man, in the wrestling ring. Just crazy quickness with his feet as well. It's just incredible. And then we get into a match, the main event. Now, I was quite happy with this main event. Sasha Banks versus Charlotte for the Women's Championship. Fantastic match. These two work so well together. I love the corkscrew moonsault that Charlotte did off the top rope. There was so many great spots in the match. The match ended with Sasha Banks finally gaining control of the Women's Championship. Great ending to Raw. What are your thoughts?
Sasha is phenomenal. To me personally, I've always liked her in-ring work style, and everything. In my opinion, she needs to take a chill pill and let other people come around her that can work with her. And the corkscrew landing moonsault dude is just phenomenal. And I've been a big fan of Charlotte. I'm not a big fan of the way she looks in the ring, but I am a huge fan of her, in the whole aspect of who she is, because she is Ric Flair's daughter.
Yeah, and so true. So true. It's quite amazing at how Charlotte has come across. She's a great athlete, but I think she just needs to step back, stop, and listen to what's actually going on around her instead of just bullhosing in without any thought of anyone else. Because she did hurt Sasha back at SummerSlam. And we just don't want to see any more of those injuries coming across, you know what I mean? So, yeah, it was... Yeah, that's it, man. So that was Raw. What were your thoughts on Raw? I to be honest, I ranked Raw this week about a 6 out of 10. What was your...
What?
Yeah, I didn't...
The only two good things out of the whole thing was the Chris Jericho promo and the tag team cruiserweight tag team match. Anything else?
I'm being very nice when I say I'm going to stop there. I'm being very, very, very nice when I say that it was a 6 out of 10. I'm being very, very nice.
Being lenient.
I love WWE. I've got all hopes in it. I hope that it gets better. So I'm sort of giving it a higher ranking. If I was being honest with you, it'd probably be a 2 out of 10. But I'm sort of hoping that next week it will get better. So I'm sort of bouncing in. They've only got one match announced for Hell in a Cell. That's the the United States title match between Roman Reigns and Rusev. But I think it's a bit too early to get the full match card up and running. So,
but you also missed a couple of shots here and there between Sheamus and Cesaro too.
This whole thing they're doing with Sheamus and Cesaro, it's going to be epic. Like, I am so excited about that. I actually had that written last because I wanted to really do that, and I was about to close off. They bounce so well off each other, and it's just awesome to see. I'm really excited about what they actually do with these guys because put the belts on them, I reckon.
Give them something. Give them what they deserve, and what they deserve is. And I hate to say it, everybody's saying Cesaro hadn't reached that brass ring per se, or he hasn't climbed that. Yes, man. I said that man right there can go. That man can go. He's been able to go since day one he jumped in that wrestling.
Yeah.
If you, I don't know if you how far back in wrestling you actually go or whatever, but if you watch the Ring of Honor stuff between him and Chris Hero as the Kings of Wrestling,
Yeah.
phenomenal, man, phenomenal. And him and T.J. Perkins, or I'm sorry, not T.J. Perkins, him and T.J. Wilson or Tyson Kidd, they were amazing as a tag team.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
you
that's
had the
it.
Don and Sweet, man, and after he got his neck broke by Samoa Joe in the dark match, um, Cesaro was on his own. He had nowhere to turn.
Mm.
And to me personally, and he's been holding his own. And Vince is looking at him like, wow, he's there, but he ain't there yet. That dude's been there. You just overlooking him because you don't like a foreigner being able to do things that your Americans can't. And
Yeah.
that's not anything away from the man. The man is phenomenal. He is the Swiss Superman. He deserves everything he gets and then some. And
Dude, I am so stoked that they are finally doing something with him. That is going to be awesome. And you can really see that it's going to be great as well. I just hope that they don't ruin this like they've ruined every other time that they've given Cesaro or Sheamus a push. I think they really ruined Sheamus's character when they gave him the mohawk and the nose ring and the beard and all that. Like that, just to me was just a ruin, like ruining a character that was so over with the crowd. And then he come out with all booze and stuff and stinky. You know, it just wasn't like the best way of bringing a new character in. But I really like this
oh yeah, I
pairing.
agree.
I think it's going to be great, man. I'm really excited about to see what actually um, happens with it. Anyway, I'm trying to add extreme blogs to this conversation because we want to get him over our side for some SmackDown, TNA, and NXT reviews. So, extreme blogs, I know you're watching this right now. Can you please give
I'm,
me?
I'm going. I'm going to be honest though. I still haven't watched NXT yet. I'm
Yeah.
watching after watching. But
There's no need. I'm going to basically tell you exactly what happened, and I was very disappointed, to be honest. But Extreme Blogs, let me know what your Hangouts thing is, and I'll add you to this conversation. Anyway, we'll get on to NXT because I'm really, really excited about SmackDown, and yes, I really do mean that. Extreme Blogs, please send me your Hangouts. We're going to add you into the conversation. NXT. NXT. What are they doing with Joe? What are they doing with Samoa Joe? I just don't know, man. Oh my!
they're doing to him what TNA did to him. They're going to bury him, and that's not a good thing. They need to go ahead and move that man up to SmackDown or Raw, either or. Let him do his thing there. Him being on NXT any longer is killing his is actually killing his character in my opinion. Talking,
It's
I could be wrong.
it's just not needed. It's very disappointing to see him come out like this. Like him just coming out and just destroying people. It's like what they've been doing on TNA and places like that, you know, where they need to. I'm not going to say any more about it because I'm getting flustered and frustrated because it was just not. It's not needed, you know. With Ninsky Nakamura out, right? it's like they need someone to take that role, okay, of the NXT champion. Put it on someone like, I don't know. See, I don't really watch NXT that much because I'm more of a Raw SmackDown guy and I'm busy on my Wednesdays. But put it on someone like Robbie Roode or the Perfect 10.
No. I disagree with the Perfect 10. I
You
disagree
would?
with that man a lot. I
Okay.
don't think
You
he should not have the title. Ever.
Well, you tell me what you think. Like that I just think it needs to be fixed because at the moment, like I was watching it today, and I didn't watch the whole of NXT because it was just frustrating me. And
the thing about it, I'll let you finish. Sorry.
yeah, you go.
Okay. The thing about NXT is you got to take in consideration they only have an hour to do everything they have to do, and
Yeah,
Nakamura is the champion. Joe put him or sidelined him like he did in TNA whenever he was ruthless and full of ruthless aggression between him and Angle, holding all the titles at one time and this, that, and the other. Joe now
yeah,
is on a ruthless rampage like he did whenever him and Balor went after the title together.
yeah,
And now he wants back from Nakamura. Well, the thing is, Nakamura is not relinquishing that title anytime soon.
yeah,
The only way he will relinquish, he's even said that he gets to pick the first loss. That's hands down. That will happen, and it's not going to come no time soon. I believe the very first title defense he will lose to will be either, like you said, Bobby Roode or
yeah,
someone like Kenta or someone like
yeah,
that. Now, that's not saying that he won't lose the title if he's injured, but
mm,
I don't see them putting the title back on Joe. They're trying to figure out a way to move him back up to like Raw or SmackDown.
yeah,
And Vince don't like him. Vince does not like Joe at all. That's a known fact. It's been known. Um, he's not very high on him at all. That's why he wants dark matches and dark matches only
yeah.
for Raw and SmackDown. And
Uh-huh.
now that he had his little brief title run, he held it for 2 months, I think, if that. Sit to
Yeah,
Nakamura to hold the championship because not only does he have a huge fan base, not only does he know how to wrestle, but the man has so much charisma in that ring that you can't deny it.
yeah,
And that's not taking away from anyone else in that ring that gets in the ring with Nakamura. But Nakamura is a phenomenal athlete. I think the only person right now that could take that title from him in NXT is Nakamura. Nakamura
yeah,
can only beat him, and that I love Nakamura. But at the same token, you have to take the title off him eventually and move it on to someone else. But the only other person you can move it to will be Austin Aries, Bobby Roode, back to Joe, or maybe even Kenta. But
yeah. That's
Kenta's
it.
injury prone,
Mm.
and he can't hold the title. So you either have to look at Roode, Aries, or Joe on Joe because he held it hostage.
Yeah, that's it. And then you got the match, and then you got the matching of Rude and Perfect, and my goodness, they just bounce off each other. Um, I really am enjoying this whole tag team between those two. Um, I've got my favorites for the Dusty Rhodes Classic. I really want my boys TM61 to win.
Hey, by the way, I know they're your homeboys and everything like that from your
Yeah,
country. And I'm not taking nothing away from TM61 when I say this. Those boys can actually go. And
yeah,
I'm sorry, I do see them being NXT champions. I really do. Because
yeah,
of the fact that they gel so well together. And whenever they lost to Gargano and Ciampa, and then they came back the very next week and beat the tag team champions and this, that, and the other. But TM61, they are phenomenal, bro. They are phenomenal.
dude. They come from the same wrestling school that I'm training at the moment. They are incredible. They they were called TMDK, which is the Mighty Do Not Kneel, or the Mighty Don't Kneel, but then they brought it, they changed it to TM61 because that name is, I'm pretty sure they changed it because that name is aligned with EPW, which is over here. But fantastic wrestlers, man. And we've got Mr. Woodsy on the phone, Mr. Extreme Blogs. Are you there? I'm pretty sure they changed it because that name is aligned with EPW, which is over here. But fantastic wrestlers. Wait a minute. And we've got Mr. Woodsy on the phone, Mr. Extreme Blogs.
Hello.
Wait a minute, we got the wrong person. Is he there?
I'm here.
EPW, which is
Hey, fix your stuff, man, please.
Fantastic wrestlers. And we've got Mr. Woodsy on the phone. There he is. Vlogs. Sorry about the technical difficulties, guys.
Yeah.
I'm here
I'm right here. Still trying to fix everything, though. Give me a second.
No problems, then. No problems. There he is.
All right, let's see.
Sorry about the technical difficulties, guys.
Yeah. I'm right here.
All right.
Still trying to fix everything, though. Give me a second.
No problems, then. No problems. All right. I'm going to eject and then I'm going to invite you back because there's a lot of...
Yeah.
I can hear myself. So we'll invite you back in 2 seconds.
Okay.
Oh, that was a bit confusing. That was a bit hectic. Well, Woodsy's trying to get into the war room, or the war zone as he calls it, Extreme Blogs. So we're going to hear from him soon. We had a few technical difficulties, but like you were saying, TM61, fantastic team, and they did beat the tag team champs in a non-title match, which was a good showing. Are they main event status yet, or title holders yet? No. Will they ever be? Definitely. Like, they will definitely be. Not yet. Not yet. Let them sit in NXT for a little bit longer and feel the pain. I can see them being drafted to either Raw or SmackDown. Probably SmackDown to start with. Maybe later next year, beginning of 2018, maybe. But right now, I think NXT is a great place for them to define their skill, get their skill working to a degree where they are the top tag team in the company. And they've got the potential to be that as well. So what are your thoughts on TM61?
I think they're a phenomenal tag team. I haven't seen any stuff from APW at all, from Australian Pro Wrestling. I do know a couple of things about APW. I do know if you're being trained there, congratulations to you. They're really, really highly sought after training program. What's his name? The big guy.
David Storm.
David Storm was there. Nathan, what is his name? Nathan Jones was there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great athletes from APW. I try to watch a lot of wrestling, man. Kelly Weir could tell you, man. That's my buddy, man, and he could tell you I watch a lot of indie wrestling.
Yeah.
From India, I watched it. From Germany, I watched Scotland. I watched English. I've watched a little bit of Australian. Some Canadian. A lot of stuff, man. I really, really dig the indie stuff more so than I do some of the mainstream wrestling as it is right now. And TM61 caught my eye during I want to say it was a pro wrestling gauntlet type deal, whatever they did with and Anarchy, NWA Anarchy in UK.
Yeah.
Found WWE was in Anarchy, I think, if I'm not mistaken. That's when they brought them over to America to give them a tryout with NXT. But I could be wrong on that. That's what I was told. That's what I've heard. Like I said, I could totally be wrong on that.
All right. I'm going to hold you there. I think we've got Extreme Blogs on the line now. Are you there?
Good.
Yes, I'm here.
Fantastic.
Everything's fixed.
Awesome. There he is. There he is. What were your thoughts on Raw this week? It was quite a crazy, yucky thing of a show. Let us know your thoughts and what you thought about, what you think about this whole US title reign of Roman Reigns, and what you think about the match between Rusev and Reigns. Let us know your thoughts.
Really, I think the storyline between Roman Reigns and Rusev is probably the best possible circumstance to be within the confines of the Hell in a Cell. You know, they have tons of history and everything. I know the story is a little one-sided. They're trying to make Roman Reigns look like the superstar, make him look like, you know, God's gift to professional wrestling, which we all know he's not. But like Roman Reigns always has to have that one-upsmanship on Rusev. And, you know, he's the one getting booed out of the building. He's the one getting no cheers, no response, you know, in a good, positive manner. Yet I think this has the most heat out of every single feud currently going on in the WWE universe. This one right here has the potential to have a great Hell in a Cell match.
Yeah.
If you let them go to the beyond limits of possibly going outside the structure, or somebody bleeding, or somebody, you know, getting involved that wasn't even involved in the story, or something different that makes people keep questioning what's going on in the actual event itself. So
yeah,
I
I agree with you there. There needs to be a big end to this feud. Whether Roman Reigns should be the champion or not, I don't know. I'm very much not into it, but hey, that's what Vince McMahon wants, so that's what Vince McMahon gets. Anyway, let's get into SmackDown. And to be honest, the last few SmackDowns I have watched all the way through. I have cancelled calls. I have not even gone to the toilet to do toilet breaks or anything like that, because I've been so fixated on what SmackDown's bringing at the moment. SmackDown opens up with Kane versus Bray Wyatt, and the match was okay. It wasn't the best match, but it was okay. It then, halfway through the match, we see Randy Orton on the Titantron, and it's basically come and find me, Bray, and Bray, it ends with the count out, with Bray actually walking to find Randy Orton. So it's messing with Bray's head. This feud between Bray and Randy Orton is coming to a point where I want to see Sister Abigail make a debut. I want to see Bray Wyatt lose. I think if Bray Wyatt loses at No Mercy, it's going to bring, in effect, Sister Abigail to the plot. So there will be someone added. I think they're going to go with Bray Wyatt winning. You'll see that in my predictions. But for this feud, I think the feud is fantastic. What do you guys think?
You can go first.
All right, I appreciate it. I think that the way they've worded this and when they've done this is it's good, but like you said in your prediction as well, that they need to give Bray Wyatt more wins than they need losses. However, too many losses so far, and WWE's going to change their way they do things anytime soon. And I predict another loss, but I would love for them to have a win. I really would, but
Yeah.
pulling out with the Viper, I just don't. He is the golden boy. I mean, he is the chosen one. He is the youngest ever reigning WWE Heavyweight Champion. Not only that, so much more lineage that goes on along with the Viper than there is with Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt is the son of the IRS. He is the older, I think, no, yeah, he is the older brother of Bo Dallas.
Mm.
But in the same token, all that being said, they're not going to use him like he should be used. They're going to use him like they did his daddy.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think they'll ever put him as a main event player. I don't think he'll ever hold either the Universal title or the WWE title if they don't give him those wins. Maybe if they bring in Sister Abigail. Now, do you guys watch What Culture Wrestling? What Culture at all? Adam Blompier brought out what they should do with the Bray Wyatt Sister Abigail, and he said in there that they should bring Alexa Bliss in as Sister Abigail. Totally change it. I'm not sure. It actually sounded pretty good, like bringing Alexa Bliss as this crazy heel chick that helps Bray Wyatt win, but I don't know. Like, first, what are your thoughts, Extreme Blogger, on the idea of this whole Bray Wyatt versus Randy Orton feud? And do you think Sister Abigail will ever become a real thing?
Well, the first question, Randy Orton versus Bray Wyatt, the actual feud itself has been lackluster. I have not enjoyed any bit of it. Because personally, what I wanted from this feud from the start, from the jump, was for these two individuals to play mind games with each other. I wanted these two guys to get in each other's head. I wanted these two guys to do some things psychological. These guys are supposed to be some, guys that know how to do this. They know how to take their opponent and play mind games with them. They know how to get inside their opponent's head. Nothing like that has happened. This has been lackluster. This feud has been something, actually it's been one of the more boring feuds currently in the WWE, in my personal opinion. I think there's tons of stuff that they could do with this. Now, I think that Bray Wyatt needs to be the beneficiary for a victory in this feud. Randy Orton, he's the king of the mountain on SmackDown with John Cena. And it doesn't really help anything with Randy Orton picking up a victory unless you have a backstory to build Bray Wyatt for the future. The Sister Abigail thing would be perfect. Now, I agree and disagree with Alexa Bliss being that type of character. Now, I say that Alexa Bliss would fit that image perfectly with Bray Wyatt sort of going psychotic and just thinking and imagining that this lady, Alexa Bliss, is that person. Then I would have, months and months go by. Alexa Bliss takes advantage of that. She wins the championship on SmackDown, the Women's SmackDown Championship.
That's exactly what Adam said. Like, get Alexa Bliss to be this intelligent person who just uses this whole aspect that Bray Wyatt thinks she's the Sister Abigail to his advantage, or to her advantage, and win the title from it because Bray is going to protect her with all that she has. And then with him thinking that she is Sister Abigail, start winning matches and then later on win the title. But that can only happen if storyline purposes permits it to happen. What are your thoughts, Mike?
I don't think Alexa Bliss will fit the character perfect at all.
No.
I find that hasn't even happened. They need to have somebody that's been in NXT, only in NXT, therefore the whole gimmick is down. Not Alexa Bliss. Alexa Bliss right now is in the limelight by herself. She doesn't need a hand to hold her back or a hand to help her push her. She is that good. And she was overlooked in NXT because she had so many other people there that she thought were better than her. SmackDown now, she is showing that people wasn't holding her on, but she was exceeding most people's expectations. I mean, she is a great in-ring performer. She's a great athlete. Her in-ring promos are even spot on. They're good, crazy. But the same token as being Bray Wyatt's sister, I just can't see it. Because of the fact he is demented, he is crazy, and you added that little bitty firecracker to the mix as the Harley Quinn of the SmackDown brand to the mix, and then you have another powerhouse faction that WWE hated it, and broke it up over a year and a half, and then they're going to do the same thing with the Wyatts again. They've already broken them up twice, and repeating cycles, a revolving door. They need to stop it. Don't bring nobody into it. The people that's already there, and have her do her thing.
Yeah, that's it.
Or you can just, or hate it, but that's just my idea.
Well, here's the thing off of that. There's a good way to do things, and there's a bad way to do things. So I think, personally, from my standpoint, I would have Alexa Bliss take advantage of him to the point of extinct. So basically, she takes advantage of him to get that championship. She takes advantage of him to hold that championship for maybe a span of 3 months. Just him and her. No Eric Rowan, no Luke Harper, no Wyatt family. Okay? Eric Rowan's out anyways because he's having surgery. Luke Harper's going to be on Raw. Braun Strowman's on Raw too, so there is no Wyatt family. But there needs to be someone else on the roster that speaks to Bray Wyatt, makes him understand that she's using him, and then one day on SmackDown, or even on pay-per-view, he confronts her about these issues, and then someone from NXT that she's close to makes their debut and takes him out. So it makes that person look strong, super strong actually, by taking out someone like Bray Wyatt, and then they become a super force on that show. So Alexa Bliss benefits from this, the women's division benefits from this, and Bray Wyatt actually has a storyline that motivates him and expresses his feelings on the roster. And then in the future, he can actually possibly get a shot at the Intercontinental, United States, or World titles, Universal, or whatever you want to say.
Yeah, they need to break him away from this Wyatt family gimmick, I think.
It's overdone.
But the way you're saying though about the end, having that feud, but they've been trying to turn face for so many times, and they don't want to because of this and all the negativity that they feel like they would get from that.
Well, I mean, you could say the same thing about The Undertaker. The Undertaker for years was a top heel ever since he made his debut at Survivor Series as the $1 Million Man's mystery partner on that team. You could say the same thing about him. He's dark, he's demeaning, he's mysterious in a way. You could do the same thing with Bray Wyatt. You just got to learn how to book it correctly. They need to hire someone like myself to book it correctly in a fashion that is appropriate for the audience to accept right away instead of being bored of the character. So Bray Wyatt can be a lovable character, he can be a jovial character, but at the same time, someone like Bray Wyatt can be a character that is dangerous to mess with in multiple different forms and fashions for the character. And I would like, you express that.
We can talk about that for so long, like Bray Wyatt, but we can't. I think we're getting a bit off track now. So we get back Raw. I'm just going to go through what happened with SmackDown, and then we can discuss our thoughts on the show itself. So we had a match between Alexa Bliss versus Nikki Bella. The match was good. Alexa Bliss won, which gives her a win going into No Mercy, which is on Sunday, for the title. I don't think she will win the title. I think Becky Lynch is going to win the title at No Mercy. I think they're wanting to... I don't think it's time for Alexa Bliss to win the title yet. I think it will be time for Alexa Bliss to win the title maybe at Survivor Series. We then get a match with Alexa Bliss and Carmella versus Nikki Bella and Becky Lynch. Alexa Bliss wins with the Twisted Bliss. We then have Daniel coming out, and to sort of give Raw a bit of a kick in the nuts, they bring out 5 cancer survivors instead of 3. And I thought the way that he presented the titles to these 5 ladies was great. I rather the blue women's title instead of the red women's title, for sure. We then get the Vaudevillains versus the Hype Bros. Didn't really pay attention to this match. All I did see was that the Ascension did come out and sort of cause a distraction, leading to, I think, the Vaudevillains winning that match. We then have The Miz talking to Ziggler. Now, The Miz on his mic skills is fantastic. I'm really loving the way The Miz is taking this whole world tour of the Intercontinental Championship. This whole storyline has been great. I think he will lose the title at No Mercy. I don't want him to lose the title at No Mercy, but I think that's the way the storyline is going. The Spirit Squad made a return, and the crowd didn't even pop for him. It was Mickey and Kenny from the Spirit Squad, and they absolutely destroyed Dolph Ziggler. We then got a match. We had Bray Wyatt in a container for most of the show, basically talking to Sister Abigail. Basically, he disappeared, and Randy Orton came back to an empty container. We had Jey Uso versus Jordan, and they absolutely destroyed Jordan and Jordan, the Alpha, Team Alpha. I'd call them Team Alpha anyway. That ended in a disqualification. Slater and Rhino then made a save. And then we had Swagger versus Corbin. Good match. Swagger won with an ankle hold, but Baron Corbin didn't tap out. So it's leading to a match at No Mercy. We then had AJ Styles and Cena and Ambrose facing off. John Cena didn't really have any talk time in this whatsoever. It was mainly Ambrose and AJ Styles just having a go at John Cena about him being a part-time player, that he won't be able to take the title, rada. John Cena gives the FU to Ambrose and AJ. AJ then does the phenomenal forearm to John Cena. Ambrose then does the dirty deeds to AJ Styles on the ramp, and that's how it closes the show. So it's very unpredictable on who's going to win the title, but I think it's definitely going to stay in AJ's hands. If they give it to anyone else, they are making a big mistake. What are your thoughts on SmackDown this week? What was your favorite match? Who do you think really shone a light going into No Mercy? And what matches are you excited about for No Mercy? Because it's coming up in about 3 days, and hopefully it's going to be a good pay-per-view.
We'll
start with Mike.
I'll let him go first this time. I went first last time.
Yeah, go. You there? Can you hear me?
Yeah. You talking to me?
Yeah. Either one. What did you think of SmackDown, and what do you think is going to happen at No Mercy?
To tell you the truth, I think SmackDown was a pretty good go-home show for No Mercy.
Oh, yeah.
I actually think that the best thing of the whole entire show were the 2 talking segments. So The Miz having the Spirit Squad come back, Kenny Dystra and Mike Mondoe. We forget about Mitch and we forget about Johnny Jeter, but the better of the two came back, and they did attack and they did brutalize Dolph Ziggler. But I think the better part is they left Dolph Ziggler looking strong, and Dolph Ziggler took both of them out with a pair of super kicks. I think that was phenomenal. It also makes Miz look cowardice. He looks very weak, but I think that's something going into Sunday, because my prediction in my prediction video that's coming up soon is Miz defeats Dolph Ziggler, and Dolph Ziggler leaves the company and does something like what Cody Rhodes is currently doing. And the other segment, with John Cena, Dean Ambrose, and AJ Styles, I think that was unbelievable too. John Cena usually is a man of many words, but John Cena didn't say much, except he said a few words, and then he attacked Dean Ambrose, which led into a brawl between all three individuals. I think that's unpredictable, what's going to happen Sunday, but I think the best choice is to go and keep with Styles as the champion. But I would do a swap between face and heel at the pay-per-view, because you have to make something interesting at No Mercy. You cannot just make the same thing happen over and over again, especially with these events happening more consecutively as of late. So I would have Dean Ambrose take out John Cena, because he's about to go film some movies. Why not write him off of TV in the appropriate fashion? Instead of making AJ Styles do it, maybe AJ Styles makes the save on John Cena. And then AJ Styles is now a babyface, a quote-unquote babyface, and Dean Ambrose is now the heel. He takes out John Cena, bloodies him, cripples him, and puts him through the announce table maybe even, and makes a statement. This is what we need. We need the lunatic to come out of Dean. And so that's exactly what I would like to see. So there you go. And the matches that I'm looking forward to mainly at Sunday are just those. The Miz versus Dolph Ziggler for the Intercontinental Championship in a title versus career match. And also, I would say Becky Lynch versus Alexa Bliss for the SmackDown Women's Championship. It's an under-predicted match, but I think it's going to be...
I think it's going to be a great match, that match. So
yeah, it's going to be... I mean, it's predictable, but I think the match has the possibility to steal the show. Yeah. And then the main event, obviously, with AJ Styles defending against Dean Ambrose and John Cena, that match is going to be incredible. It's going to be booked in the most fantastically phenomenal way possible. And
hopefully.
It should be. I mean...
I'm hoping that No Mercy is not total screw up like Clash of Champions was. That's why you didn't see predictions from me. That's why you didn't see a review from me really for Clash of Champions, was because it was so bad. I didn't even want to talk about it. It was just I was quite upset with Clash of Champions, but I'm hoping that they don't go down that road. Mike, what are your thoughts on SmackDown this week? What are your thoughts on the upcoming pay-per-view No Mercy?
No Mercy to me, the three matches I'm looking for, the same three matches everybody's looking for. Miz versus Dolph Ziggler. I really think Miz is going to lose the match, because I don't see him leaving the company, as John said, and going to do what Cody Rhodes is doing. I just can't see it, because Ziggler is a mainstay right now. He is. The crowd loves him, much like Damien Mizdow. They love Damien. They love Mizdow so much. But in the same token, with that being said, I do see Ziggler winning the championship and doing a whole big celebration wherever they're at. Then on top of that, the Alexa Bliss versus Becky Lynch. I think that match, like everybody says, it's predictable. It does have potential to steal the show. I don't see it being an opener. I see it being like mid-card, midway of the pay-per-view match. All three gentlemen, and like he's saying, like John Cena needs to go away for a little while. I don't see John Cena leaving from the movies. John Cena is a workaholic. He loves to bounce back and forth with all of his everything. He likes to go everywhere. Show. He wants to be at every event. He likes the limelight way too much, and everybody knows that.
Do you see John Cena becoming a 17-time champion? Well, 16-time champion first up, and then 17-time.
No, I see him tying Ric Flair. I don't see him beating Ric Flair. I see him tying. I don't see him beating, but not right now. And I see
Wow.
AJ Styles retaining the championship. But and I know I hate it. I hate it as much as everybody else does. I'm not a Cena Mark fan, but at the same token, it is fact. It will happen eventually, and I hate it.
Yeah.
But at the
Well,
same
that was
token,
SmackDown. I really do hope it's good. It's a good No Mercy this Sunday. I'm really looking forward to it. I hope that we get enough. It gets enough viewage that it does become a good pay-per-view. SmackDown is beating Raw in the ratings at the moment. We all know that, and it is a better show at the moment. In saying that, I really do hope that Raw does start to pick up. Now, TNA, my goodness, they have flopped, they have fallen, they have crashed to the ground. There are rumors of WWE now picking up the library of TNA and putting it onto WWE Network. The man who knows the most about TNA, who has been watching it from very beginning, is Mike. That's why I've got you on here, buddy. Let me know what's going on with TNA, what is happening in that between TNA and WWE. We are going to be closing up very, very soon this video, so let's end it with some TNA goss and what's happening in WWE right now.
well, the thing is, TNA signed a deal with the Fight Club or the Fight Network, the Fight Club Network, which is an app you can get through Roku, you get it through Apple, all this other stuff. Everybody knows that. The bad thing about TNA is they're losing money hand over fist. I mean, they're sinking money like a sea ship. Everybody knows it. Everybody can tell it. They're losing well-known stars week in and week out. They've already lost in the past year. They've lost 90% of their all-star roster. Bobby Roode, James Storm twice. They've lost both Frankie Kazarian and year. Lost AJ Styles last year. They lost a lot of great wrestlers over the past year and a half. With that being said, Joe left this year. Roode's gone, like I said. Then you have continually going to the bottom. 5 stars from WWE NXT, the failures of EC3. They're trying to revive it with Tyrus, which is everybody knows the fucking SARS. Drew Galloway. They're trying to revive it with all these Aaron Rex, for God's sake. Bobby Lashley. All these people I'm naming came from the WWE. CW take deal where wrestlers and trying to give them a new makeover from there on in. It's a bad thing. It's never going to be good, and it's going to sink the ship even quicker. And they're trying to save money. They're trying to make money. They're trying to do something with WWE, trying to sell their library, which Billy Corgan has already said that he the extent and when it's going to go on the network, or if it will at all. Rumors of buying out the whole actual company itself. That never took place. That's never going to take place because Dixie Carter has a main. With her being still the majority stockholder of that company, it will never happen. Now, whenever they offered it to Jeff Jarrett to come back in as a main proprietor holder of the TNA brand, he went down to Nashville. He went and looked at the books. He went and looked over everything. He said, look, but I can help you revitalize your company. I can help give it a little bit better push and this, that, and the other. It failed miserably. He left. His company is garbage. I hate to say that. I'm a big Jeff Jarrett promoter fan. I'm not a big fan of him as a wrestler, but as a promoter, as a person to go out there and put his name on something to make it look good, do that. Hell, whenever TNA was still doing their weekly television shows on pay-per-view for $10 a week, I paid my $10 every week to watch it on Wednesday nights at 8 o'clock or 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
And it was some of the best wrestling that everybody ever came in contact with because he knew what he was doing. He need to go back to that type of mentality and that type of booking with their television shows. Yeah, they've got all these big name players, but they don't need them. They need to go back
Yeah.
to their roots. They need to go back and find who TNA really is.
Yeah.
Now, the root thing, everybody's sitting there complaining about as fans of wrestling in general. I'm a huge fan of wrestling, not just WWE, not TNA, but every indie promotion out there.
Yeah.
We have indie wrestling here, but with that being said, TNA is dropping the ball left and right, and they need to make money. So the quickest way to make money was to sell their library, because that library, their older stock from back in the day when they did all their pay-per-view stuff, is golden. And whoever gets a chance to put that on their network is going to be reaping the benefits of that. Because I don't know if you watched it, I don't know if John watched it from back in the 2001 era, up to 2004. Something you'll ever find on TV.
Yeah, yeah, so true, man.
I mean, I remember watching the very first Ultimate X match whenever Don Callis came out there and said, "This is what it's going to be. This is how it's going to be done." I was like, "Oh man, that's stupid." And when I watched it, I was like, "Why didn't WWE think of this? Why couldn't they do something like this?" And WWE came out with, "Well, we got the Hell in a Cell." I was like, "Been done."
Yeah, yeah. It's interesting where it's all going. WWE buying the library of TNA. It's going to be great to watch all the X Division matches, all that stuff, and hopefully down the line we'll see some of the TNA roster come into the maybe NXT. You know, people
most
like
of them are there now. You got Joe there.
Yeah, we've got Samoa Joe. We've got Aries. We've got Rude. Why not bring Eric Young over? Abyss. People like that, you know.
Well, Young hadn't been back
good
yet. I think he's in New Japan. In Europe, I think.
Yeah. Anyway, we're going to end that off. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Like this video if you want to see this more often. We may be able to do this once a week. Have a discussion on the week in in wrestling in general. Man, I think this has gone for about an hour so far. So we can do an hour show every week. And yes, we do have to vote for Ric Flair, the Nature Boy Ric Flair. Yes. Anyway, thank you so much for joining us. For joining me in my first ever live show. Yes, John. Yes.
I didn't get to speak on TNA Impact Wrestling.
Okay, you can speak on TNA Impact Wrestling, John. I saw you were muted, so I wasn't too sure what was going on. What are your thoughts on what's been happening with TNA, and then we'll close up.
Sweet. Here's a few facts to lay out for you guys. The WWE is purchasing the library, while Billy Corgan is going to be purchasing the new Impact, which basically means that he's going to be redesigning, reamping, and revamping the company into something different. So basically meaning that the company is not going to be called TNA Impact in Wrestling anymore. It's going to be called something different. Billy Corgan hasn't yet displayed what the name is going to be yet, because the contract has not been signed, sealed, and delivered yet to all three parties. As far as TNA product nowadays, I'm actually entertained by the quality of the performance so far. I mean, you mentioned that EC3 and Brodus Clay and others are former WWE guys, along with Drew McIntyre and such. And some of those guys were not used to their full potential in the WWE. But, I mean, there's other talents such as Eddie Edwards, Davey Richards. You got Robbie E. I mean, you got Robbie E. But you got other talents like those that were not WWE guys. Those guys were Ring of Honor guys. And I mean, nowadays in the world of professional wrestling, you have multiple different outlets. So, like when WWE brings in someone new, they were most likely from Ring of Honor. They were most likely from WWE, former, past, like Road Dogg or Billy Gunn or whatever. They were from CZW, Combat Zone Wrestling. They were from New Japan Pro Wrestling or Impact Wrestling. They were somewhere else. And that goes for all these other companies. what their new storyline that they're coming up with, like James Storm, Bram, and Eddie Kingston being in like this masked, faction type group or whatever. Who would have think that Eddie Kingston would be joining Impact Wrestling? This guy's talked so much crap about Impact Wrestling for years, and now he's finally on the roster. I could even see people like Chris Hero, even Sami Callihan, joining Impact Wrestling with the leadership of Billy Corgan as the leaderhead. Because Dixie Carter, she's on the way out. She's gone. And which is good for wrestling because she doesn't know shit about the company. She doesn't know shit about anything with the world of professional wrestling except bills. And she knows how to spend those more than she knows how to get them. So, yeah, Impact Wrestling is going good, but they need to keep going good because if not, WWE might buy them all the way.
I really like what they've done with Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy.
Sorry to cut you off, but that's mainly because Matt Hardy is a very creative individual.
Yeah, I don't like the way Decay. I don't like Decay. I don't like that aspect. I like that Matt and Jeff Hardy took over the titles. Man, the segments that were like the rehashing water, where Jeff Hardy went into the water and then came out as the TNA champion from 2010. Perfect. Their last match where they took over the titles at Bound for Glory.
Yep,
fantastic. Where Crazy Steve threw the water onto Jeff Hardy, and Jeff Hardy turned into this crazy maniac. It was just total comedic match. My wife even watched it and was laughing at it. It was just a great match altogether.
Yep.
With TNA, with WWE taking the buying the TNA library, fantastic. That'll be great because then you get to see all the old matches.
Yep. But the main reason they're getting that, though, is because they have superstars like AJ Styles, they have stars like Samoa Joe and others, and they could possibly bring in Christopher Daniels, Kazarian, and even, you left out the Motor City Machine Guns. And, all these talents are top commodities to the former past of TNA Impact Wrestling. So, a lot of different people out there.
Guys, we have covered a lot for this week in wrestling in general. Will you be happy in joining me weekly to discuss wrestling? We may even be able to get a few others. Anyway, guys, that's it for me. Say goodbye, guys. What match are you looking forward to next week? What are you looking forward to next week? And then just say goodbye, and then I'll off.
All right.
You can go.
I'll let you go first, man. Go ahead.
Match that I'm looking for next week is the rematch. Or actually, next week, I believe it's Eddie Edwards versus Cody Rhodes, which should be one hell of a match on Impact Wrestling. And I guess something for WWE I'm looking forward to is, I don't know. Because WWE doesn't have their show pre-taped, so I guess Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins' little segments. And I'll sign off. Until next time, be extreme, stay extreme, and I'll talk to you guys very soon.
Later, John, man. Good talking with you, brother.
Good talking to you, too. Thanks for the invite.
No problem. And Mikey, what are you looking forward to next week? Don't sign off yet. Don't hang up. We'll talk after. But Mikey, what are you looking forward to next week?
I am looking forward to, like you said, the Eddie Edwards stuff, for that title. That's going to be amazing. And not only that, in WWE, I'm looking forward to seeing anything Chris Jericho does. Because I want to breathe in. I just want to drink it in, man.
Yeah.
Awesome. That being said, though, I do think that WWE is dropping the ball on a huge commodity that they and that is Cruz, Yuha Nation. I really think they're misusing this guy on a grand scale of things. Not only is this man big like Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar, but he can do moves just like Sin Cara can. they're making him job the people that he could actually win against, in my opinion. And they're treating him as the huge babyface jobber that he shouldn't be. Titus O'Neil, they're going to do him the same way they did Titus. They're going to make Darius going to use him up and spit him out, and that's terrible.
I understand.
The man is huge. I've seen his workout regime on Twitter. I've seen him go live. I've seen him at a PWG show on DVD. I've seen him at PWG DVDs. The man a couple of times over the years. I'm a huge Uhaa Nation fan. Huge. But he is dropping the ball on him. I wish they wouldn't, because that man could bring a lot of things into like different storylines and stuff.
Yeah. And for me, I think, same as you guys, I really want to see Eddie Edwards versus Cody Rhodes. But I also want to see what Chris Jericho does with his list next week. I am a fan, man. I will just like Chris Jericho, man, far out. And I'm looking forward to what happens after No Mercy. I'm looking forward to No Mercy. I think it will be a great pay-per-view. Maybe you guys can come and join me for a review of No Mercy if you are free. Anyway, like always, guys, subscribe for more content. Twitter and Instagram links are in the description. These guys' channels are all in the description. And don't forget, guys, like always, keep smiling. You are